Hey, UnCloned Insiders. This is Audria Richmond, your marketing and brand strategist. Today, we're going to be talking about three books that's going to level up how I track KPIs, right? So, I read this book. I recommended this book several times in our audio newsletter. So, I'm going to make you go on a hunt and go check your email because I already talked about this book several times. And if you are opening our emails and reading our audio newsletters, then you already know what book this is. But anywho, in this book, it was all about operations. Hint, hint, that's the hint. But I read this book that was all about operations. I actually started to read it on the flight to Funnel Hacker Live, and she recommended this book by this guy named Bernard. So I'm going to show you the three books. But before I show you the three books, I want to tell you like why I'm going to be tracking these KPIs. Number one, you're really not taught what KPIs to track. Over because I'm a marketer, I know how to track a lot of marketing KPIs. But when it comes to your overall business, there's way more KPIs to track. And once you begin to level up your business, scale your business, and start to build out departments and teams, each person within each department need their own KPIs to track. And so if you're not familiar with all the business KPIs, you can get, lost in the sauce with that. So I'm going to be sharing with you three books that I picked up on Amazon. I scanned through them and they seem pretty solid. So the first book is called Getting Started with KPIs, step by step KPI guide for ambitious businesses. And I put that, and I said, I put emphasis on it for a reason, ambitiousness. Okay. So when we talk about being ambitious, we're more so talking about those business owners who are like, they mean business. You take your business seriously. Do you have dashboards? That's another thing that I want to know with you all. Like, do you have like a dashboard where you track and measure all the details of your business? Like, we have multiple dashboards. We have client dashboards. We have operations dashboards. We have marketing dashboards when we do marketing campaigns. And so as your business begins to get a little bit more mature, you need to be able to have dashboards, and those dashboards will have KPIs. But, leads, sales, appointments, things like that, that's like, on the basic level. But when we start talking about like really growing and expanding your business, you need to really know about these various KPIs. So that's one of the books that I picked up. Now, this book is a little bit pricey on Amazon and is very thick, but it is like a glossary of all of these really cool KPIs. Okay. Like he said here on this list, it's like 400 plus KPIs that you can track. The next book that I'm reading, I believe is by the same author. Yes, Bernie Smith. He got another one called KPI Checklist. So it's a practical how-to guide templates, which include like 50 different checklists. What I like about this book is that he kind of explained the different checklists and then break it down. So I really like this book. Again, I'm just starting with all of these books just to familiarize myself, but I can tell you that there are a ton of KPIs that I could be tracking and measuring against. Now, you obviously won't use all the KPIs, but you're getting these books so you can learn and be familiar with what should I even be tracking and measuring in my business. Because again, when you're starting a business, they don't tell you. So unless you went to business school or something like that, you just won't be privy to that. All right. So the last book is the actual book that was recommended in the book that I read. And this is another reason why you want to read books. When you're reading books, you're getting recommended resources, tools, things that you won't really just find scrolling Instagram, right? So this is the actual book that she recommended, and then I started adding those other two books to the cart. But this one is called Key Performance Indicators KPI. The 75 measures every manager needs to know. And so, one thing about this book, it gives you 75 KPIs. It gives you the formula for how you should track and measure that particular KPI. It also has the other thing that's really cool about this book is that the person, whoever published this book here, they got so many different kinds. And I think these books are published in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. But there's another book that I picked up called Business Analytics. I think that's the name of that one. And it talks about like all of these different types of analytics that you can track in your business. So again, business is numbers. And so if you are a person who's just like anti numbers, you hate numbers, you don't like numbers, you're not going to like being in business. Like you should be actively opening and tracking numbers in your business that's important for your business. I can't tell you what's important thing to track. If you sell product, maybe you're measuring how many units you sold for the day and how many you sold, and if you're buying inventory, you're tracking how much profit you're going to have after expenses. So it's a lot of things that you can track and measure, but you got to know, one, what business you're in, two, what you're tracking and measuring, and three, you don't want to go crazy with a lot of different tracking until you get a more robust and mature business. But I'm bringing you, this is the thing I want to do different with my community. I want my community to be ahead of the game. I don't want my community, figuring out once they get to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million in sales, and you're wondering like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing in my business? I feel like I'm learning a lot of stuff late because I'm like a first generation entrepreneur in my business. I mean, in my family. And so I don't really have a lot of family members that I can call and like ask questions about running a business legitimately. And I'm not talking about a hustle. I'm talking about a business. Okay. So those are the 3 books. I'm gonna recap really quick. So Getting Started with KPIs, a step-by-step KPI guide for ambitious businesses. Bernie Smith wrote that book. He also wrote KPI checklist, practical how-to guide or how-to templates also included 50 checklists. And then this book is the book that was recommended in the book that I read, which is called Key Performance Indicator, the 75 measures every manager needs to know. Now, if you are new to our brand, or if you're returning to our brand, do you know your UnCloned brand score? Everything that we do here at UnCloned Media hinges on your UnCloned brand score. So if you don't know your UnCloned brand score, over 1,320 people know their UnCloned brand score. Do you know yours? If you don't, you can learn yours for free at unclonedbrandscore.com. Again, that's www.unclonedbrandscore.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you come inside of our UnCloned community and let us know your biggest takeaway. And until next time, y'all, let's go live an UnCloned life and build an UnCloned brand. Bye, y'all.